Last night was a big night in the world of elections and debates, man. The vice presidents went at it. Mike Pence and the vice presidential hopeful Kamala Harris, and it was a stunning sunning, if I may say so myself. She was very surgical in her responses and picked that man apart. What say you, Angie?
Yeah, absolutely. Kamala Harris was direct. And one of the big parts was about the vaccine. Would she take a vaccine? And also, a lot of times Mike Pence was doing a lot of talking over the moderator. He was also trying to, jump in and talk over her, but she shut all that down. Listen.
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty, it was crazy because, here's the thing. Mike Pence always was going over his time. He seemed very robotic in all his responses and everything that he said and everything he did. And, a lack of respect for, the other person's time. Very similar to his master, Donald Trump. But, aside from that, a fly stole the show, which took away from the narratives of the important things that we should have been paying attention to in the actual debates. And to break some of that down, we got our man Bakari Sellers on the line. Good morning, sir.
Man, what's going on? Good morning. How y'all feeling this morning?
Man, we're feeling great, man. So, listen, the fly apparently stole the show last night, but what should we really have taken away from the debates last night?
Last night was history. I hope that everyone with a little black and brown girl allows them to watch that debate again if they didn't watch it last night and have a sense of pride. I mean, to watch a black woman on that stage. I mean, Mike Pence got treated like the rest of us who have married to black women and dealt with black women our entire life gets treated. I've been debating black women for a long time. I ain't won one yet, and he didn't win last night. And so, it was just, you're right. I heard you say she was surgical. She was precise. And she not only had to beat Mike Pence, but she also had to overcome all of those age-old, worn-out stereotypes of women. And she did that. She threaded a needle so successfully, and she made me extremely proud. And she made history on that stage.
Yeah, Bakari, this is Angie checking in with you. I wanted to ask you, what did you feel about some of the avoidance on questions? In particular, she kind of avoided the whole situation with regards to stacking the Supreme Court, and I feel like Mike Pence avoided pretty much every question and then kind of went at her like, you're not answering the questions. Can you speak a little bit to the avoidance on both sides?
Yeah, so she did not answer the question on court packing. She alluded to and talked about the fact, which is an important fact, that Mike Pence and Donald Trump have not appointed a single person of color to the federal bench, which is important. For me, I believe that we should actually add justices to the Supreme Court and add 80 to 90 new federal court judges. The last time this happened, we didn't have 300 million Americans. It was just a different time period. But they've made a decision. They made a conscious effort that they want to focus on the diversity of the court and not answer the question about increasing the number of justices. That's the decision the campaign's made. As for Mike Pence, he didn't answer anything. This man said last night when asked about climate change, this man said the climate is changing. Period.
Right.
That's not. I'm like, what grade are we? If your son or daughter comes home from virtual school and answers a question like that, you're gonna think something wrong with them. And so there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that last night. And let me just tell you, Angie, the thing that stood out to me is just the split screen. Looking at that split screen, you had someone who looked old and weathered, and then you had Kamala Harris, who was late and fresh and looking like the future.
Come on with the lead, yeah.
She looked very energized and focused, and she seemed like she really had it together. And there was a lot of polls from last night saying that both, could, possibly end up being the president one day. Who looked and sounded more presidential to you last night between the two, between Kamala Harris and Pence?
I think it was a more important question for Kamala Harris to answer, and I think she answered that question resoundingly. The CNN poll had her winning the debate overwhelmingly, almost 2-1, and had on the question of can they be president, had it 50-50. So I think that's the win for Kamala Harris there's no doubt in my mind that she can be president. I think with both Pence and Harris, potentially serving under who will be the oldest president in the history of this country, I think that's an important question to ask. But there's no doubt in my mind that she could be president of the United States.
Bakari, what are your thoughts on these moderators? The moderators seem to be catching a lot of flack. Susan Page, of course, a lot of people felt like, the whole please, Mr. Vice President wasn't working. What are your thoughts when it comes to moderating? My thought is always, what can you do, if without a mute button? How do you feel about the moderators so far?
Yeah, I thought she was worse than Chris Wallace. I thought that she didn't. It was horrible. I mean, I think she let Mike Pence run her over, and she had no problem interjecting with Kamala Harris. I mean, it was please, baby, please with Mike Pence, and it was like, shut up, like your time is done. Like, it was.
She had to jump in and say, I want equal time at one point.
Exactly.
Like, give me my time.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it was just weird. I don't know if you all know this, but the breaking news is that the Presidential Commission has said that the next presidential debate, will be virtual because we know that Donald Trump is a walking Petri dish.
Right.
But and then Donald Trump said he ain't participating in no virtual debate. So that's where we are right now. I don't know if the 15th is going to happen, but that's where we are. Can you imagine Donald Trump on a Zoom call though? I mean, that's going to be.
It'll be a nightmare.
We can mute him.
This
finally,
last 4 years has been a nightmare. They might look at doing all of the debates like that, Bakari. Well, listen, Bakari Sellers, man, thank you so much for pulling up on us with your insight and the info, man. You can catch my man on CNN, and if people want to follow you, where do they go?
Man, go to Twitter, Bakari_Sellers, and IG at Bakari Sellers. Thank you so much, man.
We are the Morning Hustle.